Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a family is suffering more loss after 3 members died in a fire last month.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this Wednesday, April 2nd, and the time is now 6 o'clock this morning, and it's time to also check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall. And Megan, we've had some rain in the forecast, it's been looking like, and some colder temps a little bit too, but if I remember right, we have some 80s maybe as well.
We sure do. You pretty much nailed that forecast. We're looking dry this morning, seeing some clouds. We also have slight chances of a sprinkle this afternoon and storm chances tonight. So that's what you need to know in terms of the rain. But as she mentioned, things are warming up here in Eastern Kentucky, starting off with this morning with those temperatures in the 40s and 50s. And take a look at Harlan in the low 60s already, 61 degrees. Now, as she mentioned, 80 degrees are in the forecast. Here's a look at those forecast highs. And we'll be in the 70s by 11 a.m. And by the time we head in the evening, that's when you're looking at mid 80s. Some places seeing upper 70s as you're traveling towards Virginia. Here's a look at that breakdown of the forecast. Again, we'll be hitting our high temperature this afternoon in the low to mid 80s. Some places seeing the upper 70s with partly cloudy skies throughout the day and storm chances tonight. Amelia.
A 4th person has died from a fire that swept through a southern Kentucky home nearly 2 weeks ago. Brian Lee Puttett died from his injuries in the March 18th fire. The fire also claimed the lives of his mother, daughter, and brother. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to Puttett's pastor about the loss.
The grounding of a family has been lost. 3 people in one day, and then a man who was a father, son, and brother less than 2 weeks later.
It totally rips your heart out. So everybody is just devastated, but in the same breath, we're very blessed that we know that they're all at home.
Brian Lee Puttett died Friday at the University of Louisville Hospital. His family says he suffered burns over much of his body and would have never completely recovered.
Brian is going to be best remembered for being the jokester and the life of the party. If you were down, he was going to make you laugh.
The service on Wednesday will be the 4th funeral for this family to have attended this in just a little under 2 weeks. But the pastor tells me that the community support that he has seen both from the first service to now has been outstanding.
I've never seen 3 hearses side by side at a funeral before, man.
On Wednesday, Fisher will speak at a 4th, where once again he'll focus on the hope in such a time of heartache.
God calls us to have hope even in tough times, and that we know through our relationship with him that we can have peace and comfort and strength, and it comes from the Lord.
His family says Puttett died a hero because he was an organ donor. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Visitation services will start at 10 this morning with the service at 1 o'clock. Everything is at Southern Oaks Funeral Home in Somerset. High winds caused damage to structures throughout parts of eastern Kentucky early Monday morning, including in Pike County. Half the roof was ripped off a home on Redbird Lane in Pikeville, where a family had just moved to in October. Tina Allen says they got notifications on their phones a little after 2 Monday morning, warning of incoming dangerous weather. Trees were brought down, several homes were damaged, and the roof of her daughter's house was stripped away.
What's going through your head as you're hearing all this hitting?
Just thinking like I'm going to be blown away, you know, and surprised that I wasn't. Because, you know, they say in a mobile home, take shelter now.
They say friends and a roofing crew were out before the sun even came up Monday morning, helping get a tarp and plastic over where the roof had blown off to minimize water damage as rain was coming down. The family is expecting insurance to be able to help with the cost of repairs. A jury convicted a Corbin woman in connection with the death of her 3-year-old daughter. Alexandra Ward was convicted on charges of complicity to murder and complicity to strangulation. The crime happened back in 2023 when Ward's boyfriend, Jordan Taylor, beat up Amora Smallwood. Taylor pleaded guilty and was sentenced for his role in the case last October. Formal sentencing for Alexandra Ward was set for April 21st. A Jackson County man who police say took a teenager from Pulaski County to West Virginia was indicted on federal child pornography charges. Michael Moon faces 1 count of possession of child pornography and 1 count of receipt of child pornography. Last month, police responded to a report of a missing child in the Nancy area. Police later said that the child was found safe in West Virginia and returned to their family. A McCreary County woman is facing charges after police say they found drugs on her. It happened when police stopped at a gaming hall and saw Anna Sexton inside. Police then discovered that Sexton had removed a bag that contained a crystal substance appearing to be meth. Police say Sexton tried to pull away and resist arrest. She was arrested and taken to the Knox County Detention Center. A new program under Shaping Our Appalachian Region is tackling a major employment gap in eastern Kentucky. WYMT's Caroline Mueller tells us how the program plans to make a lasting impact.
The Eastern Kentucky Runway Program officially launched Tuesday, opening its doors to participants throughout 12 coal-impacted counties. Organizers say the goal is to remove barriers that have been keeping people out of the workforce.
You have to start by winning hearts and minds and reminding every person that they're here for a reason and that there is a bigger plan to their lives.
The program specifically targets people in the age range of 25 to 54 who are unemployed and not actively seeking work. SOAR's executive director Colby Hall says one of the biggest barriers to employment in the region is the lack of available jobs, but there are also deeper challenges.
If all potential job seekers came to our door today looking for opportunities, that what we have available locally is not enough to meet that. So that's one. There's also structural barriers to entering the workforce, to things like childcare, housing, transportation. Those are things that are fairly common that can keep people in the situation where they are.
Funded by a $50 million grant, the program aims to place 1,500 people into jobs during the next 4.5 years, generating $33 million in wages. But program officer Will Warren says it is about more than just job placement.
It's a very non-transactional program, very proactive. We walk along with the individuals, provide coaching support as well as peer support, people that have walked in their shoes to better understand what their hopes, what their dreams are, and connect them to the resources, walk along with them, support them, not only up into employment, but throughout a career employment as well.
Hall says if those goal metrics are reached, they expect a 5% reduction in the prime age employment gap. Caroline Mueller, WYMT, Mountain News.
Those looking to get involved in the program can find more information on our website, WYMT.com.
As you're heading out the door this morning, you might need a light jacket as those temperatures are not too bad. We're mainly looking in the 40s and 50s, seeing 61 degrees being hit in Harlan this morning. Now, the good news is you won't need that jacket this afternoon at all, as those temperatures will skyrocket to the 80s. It's going to be a warm day in the low to mid 80s as you're in eastern Kentucky, but for our Virginia counties and West Virginia counties, looking in the upper 70s. Here's what you need to know in terms of satellite and radar. We're just looking at that cloud cover moving through, not seeing any rain this morning. Could see a sprinkle this afternoon, but what we have our eyes set on is a storm chance that will be rolling through tonight going into Thursday morning. Here's a look at the forecast for the next 12 hours. We'll see those temperatures warming up, seeing the 70s by 11 a.m. and then the 80s by 3 p.m., reaching our high temperature around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. We have more news on the way. Wisconsin's race for a seat on its Supreme Court is going down in the record books for being the most expensive campaign for a judge ever.